to At the Disney Movies with the Hearts.
I'm Kelly.
I'm David.
And this week, it's Tarzan Goes to the Olympics. I, Tarzan, you, Jane.
World's greatest athlete from 1973.
Fans are cheering. Come on, baby, let's go! For Walt Disney Productions' hilarious comedy movie, The World's Greatest Athlete. It's Jan Michael Vincent as Nanu the Jungle Phenomenon, who becomes a coach's dream overnight for losers Tim Conway and John Amos, and becomes a hero for co-ed Dale Haddon.
I'm glad you wrote down the year, because I didn't.
I actually remembered it. I didn't write it down.
Oh my gosh. And just up front, for everybody out there, it is hot in where we live this week. And it doesn't usually get hot here.
There's definitely no AC in the podcast studio, and it faces west.
So we're dying a little bit, but there's a fan. I'm going to cut out the noise, hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
And if there's a lot of noise on this episode, we we don't really apologize. No. It's just, that's how it had to be.
I'm sweating everywhere.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'm recording this episode literally just in my underwear.
Yeah. Hot.
Oh.
So amazing. Also amazing, or maybe, I don't know, David,
maybe.
What did you think about this piece of cinema, World's Greatest Athlete?
It was just a wackadoodle romp of a good time.
I didn't realize how much I'd been needing this movie in my life until I saw it. Oh my God.
So here's the thing, right off the bat, I love John Amos.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of my favorite actors. He's not in a ton of things, but every time I see John Amos, I'm smiling, I'm happy, and I love him on screen, and this movie is no different.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of John Amos.
Yeah, he's just, if you had a con man who was
lovable,
yeah.
He's perfect.
He's great.
I want to take you to America.
This is a strange movie.
And that's the other thing. This movie is so strange, I have to love it. There's no choice for me to be, oh, man, this is one of those stupid, wacky Monkey's Uncle kind of movies. Which it does have a lot of Monkey's Uncle vibes.
It's very,
it's like the most evolved version of Monkey's Uncle.
I just want to say, it's very, I wrote that literally, it's very Monkey's Uncle-esque.
Harry doesn't hurt the situation at all.
The tiger, Harry, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Napoleon and Samantha meets Monkey's Uncle meets...
I know. Isn't it weird that we just saw Napoleon and Samantha and then we just watched this movie?
A little bit.
It really... It's like some kind of great magnet syncing up of the earth that we just saw these two 70s big cat Disney movies. Not exactly back to back, but essentially back to back. For our intents and purposes. We saw him back to back, and wow. And that tiger, what a tiger.
God, sir. He is so majestic.
He's so majestic and so well trained.
He was literally, at one point, he had his neck around the guy's skull. And then
Jan Michael Vincent didn't even care that the tiger. He's like,
Henry, you're so funny.
And they were able to put him in, like, crowds and...
Yeah, and he has some super fabulous hats on.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Sir.
Harry's got fashion. Don't even get me wrong. Both times, he's a fashionable tiger.
He's really got those stripes nailed.
Yeah.
God, we're so dumb. So, we kind of had the track and field part right, though.
Oh, yeah,
We both thought that. Initially, we thought, it's going to be some kind of a running thing.
Well, because anytime you say athlete, you think track and field Olympics kind of thing. Like, if you're just generalizing somebody as an athlete, that's what you think.
Yeah.
You're not like, this guy's going to play in the NBA.
Yeah, because, I guess if you're doing all the track and field events, you do have to be pretty well-rounded athletic.
Absolutely. Like, if you do, like, a decathlon where you're doing 10 events, come on.
So is decathlon the one where they're shooting the gun?
Yeah, that's a part of it,
That's pretty freaking sweet. I like that one. Where the shooting of the gun is so random. It's crazy. But there's actually this movie that I kind of want to watch. It's called Animal Olympics. It's this weird animated movie that's not Disney about the Olympics. But it's like all animals.
Is it like the Laugh Olympics from the 70s with cartoon?
They're all animated, but I don't know.
It's different. You don't know anything about the Laugh Olympics, which I won't go into here, but that's a Hanna-Barbera thing.
No. It's not. Yeah. It's not like that. It's just like a silly animated movie that I watched a lot as a kid. That watching this made me want to watch it.
What I'm talking about is highly silly.
No, but this is different.
I think.
I don't know. But
does it have Muttley? Muttley and Jeff? Okay.
Well, let me read the synopsis here really quick. And so you unfortunately cannot enjoy The World's Greatest Athlete on Disney Plus, which is really strange. Well, it's strange that it's not.
I don't get it. I don't get why it's not kind of front and center. This movie would play just fine today.
Yeah, it's just so...
Except for, I guess, maybe a little appropriation, but I think it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. The World's Greatest Athlete. Comedy, family, romance. A down-on-his-luck coach travels to Africa where he spots the world's greatest athlete, a white Tarzan type. The coach brings him back to the US of A to compete.
Wow. Okay.
A white Tarzan type.
All right.
Oh my god.
A white Tarzan type. I'm just waiting for her to tap out.
I'm not going to tap out. I'm fine. It's just my back is really sweaty.
Are you sure? Because you don't seem to be able to handle this very well.
I'm fine. It's just literally my entire body. I feel like it's like goo, and I'm going to like...
Well,
our director, Robert Shearer.
He's basically just a TV director. The only other movie I could find that he directed was a TV movie with Sammy Davis Jr. called Poor Devil. And it was right after this. Otherwise, everything this dude did was television.
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot of Love Boat.
Yeah, Love Boat.
Star Trek Voyager.
Star Trek The Next Generation. Something called Danny Kaye. And I noted Gilligan's Island just because I wanted to note Gilligan's Island.
And he was actually an actor in the 40s before he was a director.
Yeah, I guess.
No, he was.
Yeah, that's fine. But obviously, this guy's just a career director. I don't think his involvement has much to do with anything with this movie.
Right.
I don't see a lot of direction choices mattering.
Correct, sir.
No. I mean, this movie's totally wackadoodle nuts.
Right.
So, obviously, you love John Amos, our main character, coach.
Good Times!
Oh, I thought you would say Coming to America.
No, Good Times is really what he's known for.
Good Times! Anytime you need a payment, good times.
Yeah, no, really.
But I've never seen it.
But that was a huge television show in the 70s. Enormous. And he famously wanted to get off the show, so they had his character die of a heart attack because he didn't want to do it anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know a lot about that.
Yeah. Well, and it was the same show that had the guy, J.J. Walker, who's on the Match Game that we watch frequently.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's Dynamite!
Yeah.
yeah.
Jan Michael Vincent.
Yeah, who I've heard a ton about in pop culture and didn't really know why until I looked.
Why?
Well, he was a huge alky, cokehead, IV drug-using, car-crashing guy all throughout the 90s and 80s.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
You know who he looks like? Do you remember Josh Hartnett, the actor?
Yeah, he does look like a blonde Josh Hartnett.
He looks like a blonde Josh Hartnett. Like a ripped blonde Josh Hartnett.
Who apparently Josh Hartnett just came out with a new movie for the first time in forever this year.
That's weird.
Yeah. He's back.
Yeah, it was kind of... He was one of those people, he was everywhere, and then he's... Oh my god, he's...
Then everyone was like, oh... He can't act. Why is he on TV? And then now he's back. So yeah, a lot of Jan Michael Vincent. Most famously, I know him from Buffalo 66 and Born in East LA.
I don't know him from anything.
Yeah.
So
you haven't seen Buffalo 66? It's a weird movie. Okay, and then Tim Conway
as Milo
from Dorf fame. Even though he got credit as being the number one, he got the number one credit in this movie at the end.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, number one was Milo as Tim Conway, which baffled me.
I mean, he was in the Carol Burnett show.
Well, yeah, but John Amos got 5th credit in this movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it, but whatever. So Tim Conway, super famous for Carol Burnett and Dorf, his series of wackadoodle golf videos.
Well, there is something else that I'm sure fans out there know him for.
What's that?
He was in Super Buddies, which is like the 11th or 12th sequel to Air Bud.
Oh, well, there you go. Dorf was in Air Buddies.
Super Buddies.
Super Buddies.
Buddies in Space.
Buddies in Space. And then Roscoe Lee Brown, who was Gazinga, and he was in Logan's Run and a movie called The Cowboys with John Wayne.
He was also in Oliver and Company.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He was in Oliver and Company.
Yep.
Which one was he in Oliver and Company?
He was Francis, the bulldog who's all proper. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's
like,
perfect.
blah, 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 blah.
That's absolutely perfect. Because this guy kicked ass in this movie. I really liked Gazinga.
Wasn't he in Coming to America also?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought he was.
Or if he was, it was a bit part and I don't remember him. And it didn't show up here. So, and then the last one I'll mention is Dale Haddon, who is Jane. She really didn't do much. This was kind of her claim to fame with something also called Cyborg and Bullets Over Broadway. I don't really know.
Yeah, Bullets Over Broadway is, I think, a musical.
But she's like the sixth lead in that. I mean, it's not a lot for her.
I gotta give one more shout out. I've shouted out this guy before, but Vito Scotti, he was the spectator at the games at the end, which was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he was the clown in Napoleon and Samantha.
Oh, okay.
And he's been in a couple other Disney movies. He always has these bit parts in all these Disney movies, but
fair.
He's great. I love it.
Nice. So, do you have any fun facts, Kelly?
I have a couple, and the first one I didn't dig in too much, so I'm just curious. So, Pete Carroll, the USC coach, appears uncredited in this movie.
Really?
In the opening football segment, he's catching the interception.
Wow.
But that's Pete Carroll.
Way to go,
Seahawks
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, right? Yeah.
Do
you have any?
Oh, yeah. So, Milo and Nanu both died in 2019.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Jan Michael Vincent and Tim Conway, they both died in 2019.
Well, at least
and that's one I didn't look up. I just noticed while I was researching.
Jan Michael Vincent did his own swimming in this, but all the other stunts and action things were done by doubles, but he did his own swimming for some reason.
Wow, he's a swimmer. Okay.
Yeah, he's a swimmer.
My only other thing was his whole alky, junky, reckless lifestyle thing.
So fun. One more. Maryville College sounded a lot like Medfield College, but Medfield College is used in 5 other Disney movies around the same time.
Wow. Why didn't they use Medfield?
Including Monkey's Uncle.
She loves a monkey's uncle, yeah, yeah. She loves a monkey's uncle, whoa, whoa.
Why did they not do it?
I don't know. But
that's dumb. They should have used Medfield, but whatever. Okay, so let's dig into this. So we load up this movie with a very long montage.
This is one of the weirdest intros we've ever had in a movie.
Yeah, so basically it's John Amos coaching all these loser teams and giving the same halftime speech to each team except for the basketball team, which is at the end of the game.
And we should say he's probably the worst coach we've ever seen. He's awful.
I don't know if he's awful. I think his players are awful.
I don't know. Did he really do anything with...
Well, we don't know. We didn't see practice.
No, I'm talking about, like, his only winner was just because the guy was amazing. I just think he's not a great
well, yeah, but isn't coaching basically a scam for the most part? It's the basic... The best thing you can do as a coach is recruit the best talent.
Yeah, I guess...
I mean, look at college football. I mean, those guys just recruit the best people.
Touche. But yeah, it's like football, baseball, basketball. They can't win anything.
And then, come on, when they were playing baseball, all the guys tripped over the bats.
Well, yeah, and like during football, the guy runs into the pole, and it's like, it's clear this is going to kind of be a slapstick.
And then right at the end of this, the guy who's playing football hands off to the other team.
Oh my god. He's like, oh, did you not see what color jersey he was wearing? Blah, 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 blah.
So Archer, John Amos, he's getting fired by Leopold and his dad, and he quits at the same time, and just suddenly they go, him and his assistant coach Milo, who is Tim Conway, they just go to Africa immediately.
Right, because, unemployed people can afford to go to Africa.
Right, and Milo is going anywhere where a coach goes.
Yeah.
So, they're married at the hip.
Milo is like the guy in Love Bug, like the mechanic guy.
No, he is definitely that guy.
But he looks kind of like a young, like Dan Aykroyd. Like
a little bit. Yeah. His character was bizarre, to say the least.
But we'll get there, but he's one of the best scenes in the movie. So.
Well, yeah, one of them. So yeah, they're off to Africa, and then all of a sudden here's this white guy who's faster than a cheetah.
Yeah, they're like on the safari, and they're just totally oblivious to all the animals, because he's like, oh, my life is sad.
The fastest animal alive. Not fast as Nanu. What's Nanu? That's what I call beautiful. Nanu. Nanu.
Oh my god, look at the cheetah. And then they're like, oh, cheetah's nothing compared to Nanu.
And he's like, what's a Nanu?
He's like, that's a Nanu. And
it's this white African Tarzan kid.
Why was he white? It didn't make sense.
Well, I mean, it makes sense to their explanation, but it doesn't make sense.
That's a weird choice. But yeah, and then there's the best of Nanu just running in the back, like on a green screen with all of these animals in the background. It's so incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And right then I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting for. This is great.
And then we get Archer, who is very excited. He climbs to see Nanu. Nanu swings away, and so he swings. And then Nanu dives. And then they're both sitting on a hippo, unbeknownstly to Archer. And Nanu's like, why would I ever leave here? I love it here.
Yeah.
And then there's a little hippo attack, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, and then they find out that tribal law says that if you save a man's life, you have to stay with him forever. So they go through all these antics to try to get Nanu to save the coach.
Yeah, so that he has to follow him forever. There's like the quicksand nonsense, there's drowning nonsense, there's the tiger in the trap, which is Harry.
Yeah.
Which doesn't attack and kill him.
Yeah, he's just like, oh my god! And then Nanu, he's like, why would you rescue the tiger first? He's like, oh, Henry is my friend. Or Harry is my friend, sorry.
So then he fakes being sick, and Nanu carries him over the mountain, over the river, and through the woods to Gazinga.
Yeah, to his godfather Gazinga.
Who hates fakers.
Yeah, he's a witch doctor, and he goes to this whole thing, and then it's I don't exactly remember what happens, but they end up sending Nanu to get aspirin because the witch doctor magic isn't working.
Right.
And so there's a montage of Nanu just running.
And Gazinga doing experiments on Archer.
Yeah. And so
then suddenly, he saves his life with the aspirin, and now he must follow him to America.
Yeah. And the one guy, why would you do that? Why would you send him? He's like, it'll be good for him. Which
it would have been.
Yeah, really, a good take by old Godfather Gazinga.
Which really is bizarre for the rest of the movie when he changes his mind.
Yeah, it doesn't really track with the rest of the movie.
Right.
And he, I forgot about this. He brings the tiger on the plane.
It's great. They're both laying in the back of the plane. So Milo and Archer are in first class or just regular?
Yeah, I don't know, but basically
they go to the back of the plane and here's Nanu and Harry just laying in a pile with each other in the back.
Yeah, he's like, Harry does not like playing. And then we get one of my favorite parts is they're trying. I didn't even remember it was my favorite part until reading my notes.
Yeah.
But basically, they're trying to sneak the tiger into the house because there's this wacky landlord lady.
Wait. First, the tiger is hanging out the car dressed like a person, hanging out the car like a dog.
Yeah.
It is riding in the car just like a dog, but it's dressed like a person.
With a hat on.
And sunglasses.
Yeah. And so they essentially try to sneak the tiger in as a person past the lady.
Who is basically blind.
Yeah, and she's, sir, your scarf is falling down. And she's talking to him, and she's just, he's got a nice face.
Oh, no pets in here. Do you understand me, sir?
But he thinks that, she thinks the tiger, it's just, I don't know, it's just wacky.
It is very wacky. So, and then there's this weird voodoo doll scene where Nanu builds a voodoo doll of Milo.
Like, why does he build one of Milo?
And it works.
Oh, because Milo wants to put the tiger in a zoo, apparently?
Yeah, so he's pissed. So he makes a voodoo doll of him. He throws Milo out the window. It's funny. It's fine. And then we cut to Jane, who's like, oh, I can't tutor somebody until she finds out Nanu is hot.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I could rearrange my courses. And Nanu's like, hey.
Not just rearrange her courses, but drop a couple classes just so that she can get a piece of Nanu's muscle.
Yeah, and he's like,
Jane,
chose her name to be Jane because it's Tarzan and Jane.
Of course.
Come on.
And then we go to this other montage where Nanu pole vaults out of the building. He kicks an 80-yard field goal, hits a home run, and tackles the pitcher. Then we get the biology scene with Jane.
Oh, yeah, the intense tutoring, where there's just a lot of uncomfortable, intense eye contact between the two of them.
Right.
And it's weird. And
there's a lot of muscles.
Yeah, she's giving him a biology lesson. She's like, well, here's a trapezius muscle.
Right, and the only thing that she's thinking about this whole time is his...
I mean...
She just wants to grab onto it.
Whoa. She's like,
Nanu sure like the way you teach.
Oh, let's get back. And then, but okay, really quick, sidebar. At some point in the movie, the villain guy, whatever his name is, oh, there's your girlfriend. But
Leopold.
But it was never established they were together.
It is the biggest flaw in this movie.
I'm just like, what? That made no sense. Anyways, and then there's a scene of Harry the tiger, like at night, going on the couch with the old crazy landlord lady, and he's cuddling with her.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, hey, Sonny, if you don't like the show, get out. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's very stupid. Then we get the news interview with Archer and Gazinga of the witch doctor and the coach and...
Oh, but don't forget, there's this whole scene in between all this of the slow field running of Jane and Nanu.
Oh,
and they're running through a field to each other for some reason. But then all of a sudden, Nanu just runs past her to run towards the tiger, and she's like, what the f*** is this? It's so weird.
Well, and then they go on a date with all three of them. With Harry, Jane, and Nanu.
And she's not into it.
50.
Well, and they're like on the lake, and her, quote, boyfriend is spying on them, and they jump into the water because she's like, oh, I heard tigers don't like water. And so they leave Harry in the boat. And then, like, 2 seconds later, they're completely dry on land.
Well, yeah, you're not going to hold them to that, are you?
I mean, it's just ridiculous. But, so, then it's the interview with...
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then after this, Harry goes shower to shower with people and kicking him out.
Oh,
and then Miss Peterson showers him in the yard while she's talking to a dress that's hung up on a clothesline.
Can I just have a movie with Miss Peterson and Harry?
Yeah,
that's what I want.
It would work. I mean, because Harry was loving life, licking himself, getting sprayed by hose.
Oh my god, Harry's the real hero.
He really is. So then we get the Nanu walk with Jane. Oh, I want to kiss. And she's like, oh, well, that's on the lesson plan. Oh, wait, it's sociology. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. That's enough kissing.
Yeah, oh, wait, I'm going to touch your muscle.
The villain, I guess, Leopold, he gets Gazinga to come speak at the medical conference.
Right.
Which I didn't understand.
One of the weirdest things about this part is, not only did he do that, but then when Gazinga arrives, Nanu's leaving on a plane, but yet somehow they go and catch him
later.
Not later, but right away.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But actually, the scene where they're in, like, the almost reception for the medical conference, he's going around and talking to all the different doctors.
And my other shout out here where he's talking to General Burkhalter from Hogan's Heroes.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. No, the fat guy, where he's like, they offered me $20 million because I found the cure to the common cold. And they were like, oh, what, to continue your research? He's like, no, to shut my mouth.
Yeah. He's just, Gazinga is giving his zingers out to everybody.
Yeah, he really is.
Because the one where he's like, oh, we're building facilities to attract more doctors. And he's like, oh, like hospitals. He's like, no, golf courses. This part I thought was funny. And then we get the strangest scene of the entire movie where they're in the bar and Gazinga is looking for his nephew and he's like, oh, I think he's in the bar. And he finds Milo and he just decides to shrink Milo down to the size of 3 inches.
Yeah, and there's this whole shrunken adventure with Milo.
I can't. Oh my god. David, this part was so funny.
It was very funny.
He climbs out, and then the part about this that's so funny is the whole time there's this drunk guy at the bar they keep cutting back to who's like,
yeah, he's like I couldn't tell if that guy was supposed to be seeing what was going on.
It was just
it just didn't make any sense.
But Milo has to he's not freaking out by the fact that, oh, I'm 3 inches tall. Oh, I gotta get to the phone. You're 3 inches tall, dude.
I gotta tell the coach. This is all in my head.
And he ends up in this lady's purse, and he's dealing with, like, bobby pins and, like, this whole thing and a comb, and it's just, oh my god.
It's very funny. But in the middle of this, there's the scene where Nanu finds out the truth of the aspirin, and that the coach lied to him.
Yeah.
And he's gonna leave, so he leaves. And then there's more Shrunken Adventure.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
Where he's in the lady's purse and he has to throw a needle and thread up and then climb up off the comb and he jumps out. But the lady almost sits on him. And then more stuff happens, but he makes it to the phone.
Yeah, and he is able to dial. Oh my god, I love it so much.
And not only just dial, but also calls Archer. Archer decides he's not going to quit. Gazinga, in the middle of this, just decides that he's going to resize Milo, which is really pretty funny.
Yeah.
So Milo's back to the side, finds Archer, and a naked Nanu going to the zoo.
Yeah, it's because for some reason he knows that a zoo is where all these creatures are.
So after this, Archer comes clean with Nanu. He essentially frees him. He's like, hey, you can do whatever you want. I bless you going back to Africa, whatever.
Yeah.
Reverse psychology, all this stuff. And he tells him about Jim Thorpe, who was the only other person who tried to do all the field and track but failed. And then Nanu comes up and he's like, what didn't Jim?
He didn't have a coach like me.
Yeah, that's right.
Because did you ever do track and field events?
Yeah.
Because it is kind of like that. It's like, oh, this event is from this time to this time, and like you have to be there at a certain time.
Right.
And they go.
So then we all of a sudden just cut to Harry in the stands with Jane at this
the track meet,
and Harry is once again dressed as a human.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it is.
And there's these 3 announcers that David apparently recognizes as one of them because you were like, oh my god.
Well, Howard Cosell, who was the main guy who is talking for the rest of the movie.
I said he could do it and he did it, didn't he, Buzzer?
The most famous announcer of all time.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, right, but I mean, he was the Worldwide of Sports, ABC, main announcer, Monday Night Football, main announcer, until he made his little mistake.
Yikes, that's awkward.
Yeah.
But okay, so the first race, the 100-yard dash, is incredible.
He does it in 8 seconds
no,
flat.
But David, okay, the whole dramatic, like it's in slow motion, and oh my god, okay, the coach is like doing these fast arm movements, like at one point in slow motion, and I just, oh my god.
There is the rest of this movie
I'm dead.
It's not very long, but it's very funny, and it's just basically a lot of stupid movements by people and slow motion and weirdness.
No, the 100-yard dash was funny.
Yeah.
Like I'm dead. Oh my god.
And then there's hurdles next where he helps somebody up in the middle who tripped over a hurdle and still wins.
Yeah. And
but then there's a scene with Gazinga and Leopold where Gazinga's suspicious of Leopold, but he decides he's going to start doing voodoo.
Yeah, he's going to f*** with his,
godson.
Why?
Oh, because he's being exploited.
Right. And in between all this, it cuts back to the stands with Jane and Henry the tiger.
And the guy that you love.
Yeah, the guy that you love. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir." To the tiger, sir. It's clearly a tiger. What do you...
Yeah, because he keeps roaring like a tiger. Yeah, it really is.
Oh my god, I'm dead. And yeah, it doesn't make any sense why Gazinga is messing with him. Because basically he's doing all these things. When he does the long jump, he makes him slide back 10 feet.
Right. And the thing is, if Gazinga had traveled the world after this, he would know sports and he would understand why they're important.
Yeah, and it's like anybody who witnessed any of these things would be like, "Whoa, that's weird." But everyone's like, "Oh, Nanu sucks."
So after he's doing all this stuff, Milo and Archer go searching for Gazinga.
They can't find him. But then Milo finds a voodoo doll, and he's like, "Oh, the Gazinga voodoo doll," which I'm like, when did you guys make a Gazinga voodoo doll? I don't know.
Well, it was his voodoo doll that he then stuck a feather in the head, and all of a sudden it became a Gazinga voodoo doll.
They, threw it, and he landed in water, so the guy landed in the pool, and he's done. So all of a sudden...
Now, Nanu can do every single event in a row.
Oh my god,
and win them all.
He's running to every single event, and it's
You're feeling better, Ocho.
It
ridiculous.
is very ridiculous. And he's just winning at everything. He's doing it, and John Amos is following him in a golf cart.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Go, Nanu, go!" And he wins all these things, and he's super famous. And then Gazinga's cheering at the end, and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And
Howard Cosell gets trash jumped onto him by the guy who he wouldn't let talk.
Yeah, and then at the end, Harry the tiger chases Leopold out in the field, and
he takes care of him.
Nana's like, "Oh, it's good that he's not running. I would lose. He's so fast." Ha 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 ha. And then Nana's all sad because it should matter what's on the inside, not having your picture in the paper.
Well, yeah, he's like, "I don't feel any different because I won," which I get. That makes sense. And so he's going back to Africa, and John Amos and Milo are doing the whole wackadoodle. Oh, we gotta go stop him. Why can we stop him? They come up with all these dumb excuses. They can't figure it out. Oh, we can stop him because Jane loves him and he can't go back to Africa. So they show back up at the airport. Oh, and Jane's there to go with them.
Yeah. So they leave, and it's goodbye, and then all of a sudden Coach is like, "Oh, I can't go back, I'm upset, I'm gonna go."
Well, and he gives his blessing first. He's cool with it, but then he's gonna leave again, and he goes to China.
Yeah, and then of course, they find a Chinese guy who's super fast, like a repeat at the beginning.
Chen Yang.
Wow. Now look at that pony, man. That's what I call really fast.
Not as fast as Chen Yang.
Chen Yang? What's a Chen Yang? Chen, wait for me! My name's Archer! I'm a coach! I want to talk to you!
And then the end is them running after the Chinese guy, and that's the end of the movie.
See, to me, this is just the story of the original International Scout. Now these guys exist all over the place, scouting good players internationally. So, what was your favorite part, Kelly?
Oh, I have a few, actually. My first one, it's gotta be Milo being 3 inches tall, climbing out of that lady's purse.
Really?
I just found it really out of place.
So Kelly also thinks that Tim Conway gets number 1 in the credits. That's interesting.
I found it very funny. Like
it was funny enough for me.
But actually, I don't know if that's my favorite part. I have another one, actually, that I just thought of.
My favorite part is Harry and Stan's and the whole montage at the end of him winning. That is fantastic. That guy and Harry and his is hilarious.
I had that one, too, as an honorable mention of the Stans. But I gotta go with when they're trying to sneak the tiger into the house.
Yeah, that's pretty good. With the blind lady is very funny. That's also one of my honorable mentions because that is hilarious.
Oh, sir, you dropped your scarf. It's his tail.
Hey, no pets. You understand, Sonny?
Well, she kept calling him sir, and I think the reason I found that so funny is because our vet calls our cats sir.
Yeah.
And I found it so funny.
And then my last little runner-up is when John Amos discovers Nanu, and there's all these cuts of Nanu doing these athletic events and John Amos laughing where you can see all of his teeth. It's just hilarious.
Yeah,
it's very funny.
He's like, we kind of skipped over this, but he's like envisioning Nanu playing football and envisioning him playing
basketball based on what he's doing, throwing breadfruit out of the tree or throwing a spear as like a pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
It's super funny, and it's like the most griftery John Amos that you can imagine, and it's perfect. I love it.
Yeah,
that was really good.
That part's pretty good. But I still got to go with them sneaking Harry into the house. It's so stupid because he's literally dressed like a person.
Well, and you find out later the lady's just flat out blind. There was no reason for that.
Then I'll give another shout out to when she's on the couch and the tiger comes up there and he's like sitting next to her and trying to like rub on her and she's like, "Hey, Sonny, if you don't like the show,
yeah, that's fantastic."
Oh my god,
I don't even know how that snuck by us. Yeah, that was a great scene.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the music,
the score was really good. It was a lot of 70s, like...
Well, it was like a Disney-fied Rocky soundtrack.
Yeah, a little bit, but this is 6 years before Rocky, but that's fine.
I know, but that's kind of... It was like... like, it just had that vibe, but it was like a mix of like Witch Mountain 70s, like...
Yeah, it was much closer to Witch Mountain than Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they say, like, on similar movies, you should watch Escape to Witch Mountain from the 70s and this. So... our main character would be Nanu and Coach, I guess, right?
I would have said Archer and Milo, and Nanu is a distant third. Oh. Nanu is, like, kind of not much of a character.
Yeah,
he's more of the device than the people. Like, John Amos and Milo are the main guys.
I view Milo as a side character.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you really find a big part in that shrunken scene, then it makes him the main guy.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And I mean, Archer is a desperate coach and Milo is his tag along. They make perfect sense as characters.
Yeah, and the story is really not about the characters. It's just the hilarious antics, slapstick.
Yeah, the story is nothing. And then our villain, Leopold, who's just kind of the obvious rich douche.
So weak.
Not a lot to him. It's a weak villain. Yeah. Our other characters, I'm going to say Nanu, who is the least believable character in the whole thing. The white Tarzan athlete of gold.
I mean, he's super ripped, but like, there's no way.
Or is he just super skinny?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super skinny, not super ripped necessarily.
I mean, he's got big arm muscles. He's got the ab situation going on.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And then we have, like, Gazinga, who is a great witch doctor, who's hilarious and super smart.
Yeah, except for it pissed the whole end thing of him messing with him, like Harry Potter Quirrell style, like, really just pissed me off.
Yeah, it did me too. That was the one, I put a blinder to it, but really, yeah, you're right. That was really... And then we have Jane, the hoe with a heart of gold.
She's just... whatever. This movie really was very Monkey's Uncle-esque.
Yeah,
because she's like the Annette Funicello character, but less
sort of
sassy. She's just, like, it really...
Well, I think it's really, she was less established, because you gotta remember, Monkey's Uncle is a sequel to a movie with Merlin and Annette Funicello.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, I think it might be the same. The cinematography is just wacky, weird.
I mean...
When he kicks the field goal and the fake football is so hilarious.
About that. Or when he's running and there's all the green screen of the animals behind him at the beginning. That's very funny. It's so good. Or when at the end when he's being messed with and he's trying to run but he can't and he's just
So, do you have a biggest surprise or disappointment?
I guess if I had to pick one, a surprise would be just literally the whole Africa portion of this movie is like, the whole premise really was a surprise, because we kind of guessed track and field, but I didn't think it was going to be someone going to Africa and finding a white Tarzan.
So, as this movie played out, I decided, and I feel like I was not surprised at all. Like, to me, this movie checked out. I wasn't really disappointed by anything. I wasn't really surprised by anything. I was like, oh, yeah, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's just... this was just a strange movie.
Yeah.
It was like... But it makes sense, because, like, it was very, like, Monkey's Uncle, Boatniks, like, it kind of all fit in that...
Yeah, it did.
Same... I get it. This is that style of that time. I get it.
And then quotable lines...
The only one I had was me Nanu, you Jane.
I tried to do the $20 million Dr. Cold thing, but I couldn't remember it, so obviously it did not pass the test.
Yeah. So David, if you remade this movie, what would you change about it?
I couldn't remake this movie. Why would you bother?
You don't need to remake this movie. It's perfect as it is. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious. Like, there's no reason to remake it. It's great. Do you have any final thoughts?
Watch this. John Amos is great. And this movie's funny. You should watch this movie. If you have any interest in Disney movies at all, you should definitely watch this silly, wonderful, silly movie.
I mean, I think you liked it more than I did, but I
probably did, but I just enjoyed it for what it was.
It's pretty ridiculous.
You think it's pretty ridiculous?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it was very enjoyable. Like, I really
enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it a lot. Like, it's just so fun, and I just had so many... Every part that Henry the Tiger was in was a win. Every single scene.
Absolutely. So, did you get a budget?
I didn't get a budget.
I didn't either.
The only thing I found was that they made $125,000.
That's not very much money.
No, I mean, this is clearly a very low budget movie.
Yeah, and even if that was low budget, that's not enough to cover this movie.
I mean, I don't think they would have World's Greatest Athlete 2, Chinaman. Yeah. Like, I don't think they were going to have that.
Yeah. So if you, Kelly, were to give this movie a rating, what would it be?
I mean, as much as my joyful self wants to give it a super high score, it's not a great movie. It's not a great piece of cinema. I gave this movie a 59%.
That's fair, dog. As much as I want to dog this movie and knock it down, I really enjoyed this movie. It was fun, and it was a great watch, and I would watch it again. I gave it a 71%.
That makes sense. I could see that.
Yeah.
And, like, I wanted to rate it, like, an 80% because
so did I, but I couldn't.
No, because it's so bad. Just literally every scene with Harry the Tiger was so incredible.
Well, really, can you think of any scenes that were unenjoyable?
I mean, I could go with the whole running, but even that was amazing.
Yeah.
The weird running of them through the field, and then he just runs by Jane.
Well, I thought that was a great scene. I thought that was really funny. I laughed.
The tiger, and she's like,
because he loves Harry the most. It's fine.
God, so funny.
So now it's time.
Wait. What's the Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, so there is no Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie. critics.
Oh, what's the people's score?
But the people give it 34, which makes no sense.
I mean, it does, though. It's a pretty...
It does, because it's only people rating it now and not in the 70s, and everybody now... I don't know.
But, I mean, if you like this kind of silly live-action, old-school slapstick stuff, you'll find this movie highly enjoyable. It's hilarious. Like, just to make fun of it is hilarious.
Right, or even if you just like something that's actually funny, you'll like this movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So now, it's time for Kelly's favorite part of the podcast.
Oh, good lord, it's hot.
And so we get a little roll.
But I'm excited. I'm nervous. Are we gonna get another? Or is there gonna be a big cat in this? I don't know. Is it gonna be Lion King? Rawr.
Ooh, there could be. It's number 364.
There could be a big cat.
I don't know. There could be, but I don't know.
Is it live action or animated?
I honestly don't know. But it's fairly new.
Okay,
fairly new, but not really.
2015-esque.
In that neighborhood, yeah, you're pretty close.
Oh God, I'm terrified. I don't know. It's probably live action if you don't know, because you would know the recent ones.
Would I? I mean, 2014 is not that recent, but it's from 2014. Maleficent.
Oh, okay. I've been...
number 364 for those who are following.
I've been wanting to watch this, actually. So
you haven't seen it. I figured you had seen this movie.
No, but you know Maleficent, obviously, right?
I vaguely remember her from
Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. And Sleeping Beauty to me is one of the more boring Disney movies.
Oh, stop it. Oh my God, stop.
So I never understood the Maleficent thing, and now I've seen the movie and I'm like, okay, Maleficent.
But she's a great villain.
Yeah. But is it live action or is it animated?
It's live action.
Okay. All right.
And it's like her story of like how she became Maleficent, I guess. I don't really know, honestly, what the story's about. But I did want to see this, and I'm really glad that we got the first one as opposed to the second one.
There are two Maleficents?
Yeah, there's a second one.
Oh, no. Aye, night.
So, yeah, no, it's just like a prequel story to Maleficent, how she became Maleficent, I guess. So,
aye, night.
I'm excited for this. I don't think there's any big cats, but, I mean...
Big cat.
Probably a dragon.
There could be a big cat. I mean, she's an evil old lady.
But this is before she was evil, I think. I actually don't know. I don't really know the origin story.
Exactly.
So, I mean, maybe she was always evil. Do you know who's in it?
No.
Okay. I won't spoil it for you.
I shouldn't have even really asked if it was live action, but I had to.
I know who's in it.
So for now, if you'd like to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, at The Disney Movies, if you'd like to send us an email, at thedisneymovies@gmail.com.
Like, subscribe, share, send us a old massage.
Give us a little heads up, give us a little ahoy hoy.
Hi.
Correct us if we're wrong, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all fun.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, this has been At the Disney Movies with the Hearts.
I'm Kelly.
I am David.
Bye!
Greatest athlete in the world. Oh my God. Is it Tom Brady? No.
Tom Brady is a douche. Tom Brady could be Nano, though. Tom Brady, you Giselle.
What about the other they knocked up? The actress lady. I don't remember what she's called.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, yeah, he knocked them up at the same time. Yeah. And
know.
she was famous.
I don't know anything about this.
Oh, my God.
Okay, do you need me to look it up?
Sure.
It's like a sauna.
We'll keep calling it.
Maybe I'll lose like 5 pounds. Yeah, cool yourself.
After Kelly read the score again.
I didn't read your score, dude.
Dude. That's how I know you're lying.
I didn't read your score. I promise.
Before my ice melts instantaneously.
Mine did. Oh God, what am I going to say? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You ready?
Yeah.